They whispered that it growled at night, that it cried like a child, that it carried a curse older than the town itself. That whoever looked inside the sack never slept peacefully again. This was a story of courage and heart. If it touched you, please subscribe to the channel. But the giant cowboy didn't listen, because for a split second, he heard a soft, broken heartbeat inside. And it sounded like it was waiting for him. The desert wind moved like a ghost through the dead grass as the giant cowboy rode into the forgotten town of Red Hollow. His silhouette was massive against the dying sun, a man carved from silence, shoulders wide as barn doors, hands that looked like they could break mountains in half. Children used to stare when he rode through cities. Men used to cross the street. Women whispered prayers. He wasn't dangerous. He just carried loneliness like another shadow. Red Hollow had once been alive. Now it was only dust, broken fences, and eyes behind dirty windows. They called him Calder Stone. He hadn't come for gold or glory. He hadn't even come by choice. His horse had simply stopped. Right at the edge of a crooked old well, right in the center of the town square. And tied to that well, like an offering to something dark, was a massive burlap sack. It moved. Just barely. A low sound came from inside it. Not a growl. Not a scream. Something worse. A whimper. A trembling old man stepped out of the saloon. "Don't touch it," he whispered, shaking. "That's the beast." Calder's jaw flexed. His hands tightened around the reins. A beast doesn't sound like it's hurting. The old man's eyes filled with fear. That thing cursed this town. It came in the night, carried on the back of a storm. Killed animals. Made women disappear. Now we keep it tied up so it can't finish its work. Calder climbed off his horse. Each step he took made the wood beneath his boots crack. People gathered but stayed far. Terrified. Hoping he'd be the one to deal with it. Or the one to die instead of them. He knelt in front of the sack. "Yes," he murmured, his voice rough like gravel. "There's fear in here, but it's not from me." He placed his massive hand on the fabric. The thing inside flinched. "Easy," he whispered, gentler than anyone expected. "You ain't alone now." A young woman suddenly ran forward. "Don't open it," she screamed. "Please, Mr. Luther, open it once," and he never spoke again. Calder closed his eyes for a second. He remembered another night years ago. Another sack. A battlefield. Children crying behind burning homes. The memory crushed into his ribs like iron. "I know the sound of pain," he said quietly. "And I know the sound of lies." With one slow movement, he untied the rope. The sack fell open. The town gasped. Inside was not a monster. Inside was a girl. Young. Broken. Covered in scars, not just on her skin, but in her eyes. A metal collar circled her neck. Chains dug into her wrists. Her hair tangled like a bird's nest. Her lips trembling as if she forgot how to speak. She looked up at him. And whispered the softest words in the world. "Are you here to hurt me too?" Something shattered inside Calder's chest. He didn't answer. He took off the chains. Wrapped his coat around her shoulders. And in that single moment, the beast vanished forever. But the real danger? That was just beginning. End chapter 1. Viewers stay because now they want to know who hurt her. Why was she in the sack? What happens to the town? They tried to kill her that night. They called him a traitor for protecting her. But none of them knew the truth. The girl in the sack was the only one who could save them. And the giant cowboy was the only one who could save her. It took 3 days before she said it. 3 days of silence. 3 days where she slept curled up like a wounded animal in the corner of the small shack Calder had built outside town. He brought her water. Food. Blankets. He spoke gently. Never rushed her. Never touched her unless she asked. And slowly, like a flower pushing through stone, she returned to life. But Red Hollow didn't believe in life. They believed in fear. One by one, People came at night with torches. "We want the monster!" they shouted. "She brought this curse." Calder stood in front of the door like a mountain with a soul. "You want her," he said, voice thunder and mercy all at once. "You walk through me first." No one did. But Elara shook. Memories flooded back. Of a cruel group of men who used her. Locked her away. Called her an experiment. A sacrifice. A punishment for the town's ancient sins. "She didn't curse you," Calder told the town the next morning. "You curse yourselves with hatred." The truth unraveled slowly. Years ago, the town had made a deal with a ruthless man named Grayson Hale, a trafficker who promised protection from bandits. In return, they gave him silence when he kidnapped orphan girls. They gave him obedience when he performed horrific experiments in an underground room built beneath the town. Elara was the only one who survived. And they called her the Beast to hide their guilt. Now Hale was coming back. To finish what he started. A violent rainstorm arrived one night. Thunder split the sky as horses stampeded toward town. Hale and his men surrounded the shack. "Give me the girl," he shouted. "She belongs to me." Calder stepped out into the storm, rain mixing with blood on his face. "She belongs to no one." The fight that followed became legend. One man against many. The giant cowboy broke chains. Shattered rifles. Protected her with his body. Took bullets meant for her. And inside, something happened to Elara too. She was done being a victim. She stepped out of the shack, no longer shaking, no longer small, and picked up the keys that once imprisoned her. And she locked her abuser in his own cage. The town watched. Cried. Fell to their knees in shame. In the end, when silence returned, Calder sat in the mud, wounded and exhausted. Elara knelt beside him, pressed her bloody hand to his chest. "I heard your heart," she whispered. "It's the only thing that ever felt like home." He smiled weakly. "Guess that makes two of us." They stayed. They rebuilt. The town that once tied up an innocent soul in a sack learned what it meant to set hearts free. And the legend spread across the desert. Sometimes, the real beast is not the one in chains. It's the fear inside human hearts. And sometimes, it takes a giant cowboy to discover the most gentle soul in the world. This was a story of courage and heart. If it touched you, please subscribe to the channel.